On target.
So I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and I thank you for joining us once again.
Join the conversation.
I looked at it on Facebook and I read the speech and I'm trying to find out what is the commitment to renal failure in Nevis, and I'm yet to find it.
Be a part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach, because when he makes those suggestions, he is in a sense misleading the population here.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869-669-7312. That's 869-669-7312 or 917-460-2187. That's 917-460-2187. On target here on 2020 Vision Radio every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On target. Be a part of it. On target.
So I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and I thank you for joining us once again.
Join the conversation.
I looked at it on Facebook and I read the speech and I'm trying to find out what is the commitment to renal failure in Nevis, and I'm yet to find it.
Be a part of the debate.
What he needs to do is to allow the people to do their work in accordance with the relevant legislation, and he must not overreach, because when he makes those suggestions, he is in a sense misleading the population here.
Speak your mind. Defend your country. Call in. Numbers to call: 869-669-7312. That's 869-669-7312 or 917-460-2187. That's 917-460-2187. On target here on 2020 Vision Radio every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. On target. Be a part of it.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and do not represent those of 2020 Vision Radio or its advertisers.
I'm done with that. I stop singing about this and that. No more calypso from the maestro. I'm getting old and I'm getting cold. Lucifer ain't gonna get me soul. No more calypso from the maestro. But me fans are asking me, my show make one more entry. You better tell the nation what's happening in the country. Plenty people they calling me, complaining ferociously. They want me to condemn the ruling party. But I hate dispute, I only can sing the truth. So I went through the whole country and made my inquiry. And tonight I'm judge and jury. Another nigga gon' vex with me. Ma Brantley, you and your party, I find you guilty. Boy, you're feeling this economy. You put the whole country on life support. Just like you did with the airport. You're guilty, you're guilty. Cars overrun at the hospital wing. I find you guilty. With no sign of the job completed. You're guilty, you're guilty. You see your normal as you campaign too. politics. I don't want to be in the mix. No more calypso from the maestro. But when I look around and see the failure in my country, I had to hit the stage again with some social commentary. Poverty increasing daily, can't pay electricity. Business closed down on every corner, but there is still hope for the future. And that is the truth. I only can sing the truth. With no kind of development, I have to condemn the government. I find a judge and jury, I'm tired of your hypocrisy. My Brantley, you and your party, I find you guilty. Oh, you're killing this economy. The only pay you can't finish that. I find you guilty. Not to mention the Mondo trap. You're guilty, you're guilty. 300 million came from Bastia. I find you guilty. Still you can't get the country in gear. You're guilty, you're guilty. You stop the laptop program in school. I find you guilty. Man, you take the country big fool. You're guilty, you're guilty. How do you bleed? Guilty, guilty, guilty. How do you bleed? Guilty, guilty, guilty. This kind of mismanagement, I can't even believe the end. Get your mass out the government. That's your punishment, I say. All your mass out the government. Boy. Why, ay, ay. Don't talk what you see.
All right. Let's say good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of On Target. And as usual, on a Saturday afternoon, I'm your host, Kelvin Daly, and in studio with me thus far is a man from up there in Hamilton, Tulu Weeks, and my good buddy Danny. He had to go to St. Kitts for a wedding, so I am not certain whether he'll be back on time. Most likely he'll join at a later point. But he'll get here as soon as he can. All right. Marriage is a beautiful thing for some people.
Blessed thing.
Blessed thing for some people. Yeah.
Honorable thing.
Honorable thing. Okay. I am not going to knock it. I was there once. Not for everybody. Let me say good afternoon to all those who have joined the conversation here on Target. But first, let me say good afternoon to those on the FM dial, YouTube, Twitch, and of course on the Facebook feed. Always welcome your comments. Keep them coming. Your phone calls are blessed things for shows. So, if you feel like calling in on a point, do so. We welcome that. Let me say very special good afternoon to two lovely people up there in New York. My good friend Nadine. She never misses a show, and of course her son Richard, both that they're in Manhattan, I believe they are. Good afternoon to both of you. I hope you have a blessed day, and this snow didn't do you too badly. But let me say, those who made podium today, back on top, the man himself, Kitchen King. He was off for 1 week, and he's back on top. Rhonda Brown is number 2. Number 3 is Daldria Penny, my number 1 fan down there on St. Kitts. Patrick Globemaster Hanley, my good buddy from way back when, small days. And my condolences to you, my brother, in the loss of your sister.
True. And
the rest of the family, of course. All right. Sharon Stapleton up there in Boston. She's in the house. And Gigi Williams-Keith all the way down there in Texas, I believe she is. Good afternoon to you. Drexel Barton is in the house. And so is Tanya Powell, also in Texas. Gemini Nisbet, still in Canada, even with all its cold weather, Tulu. This woman is crazy. Why would you want to be in Canada?
I thought she came out.
No, she's still up there. J.C. Webb, Judy Cornelius Webb up there in Judy Cornelius Webb Estate. Good afternoon to you.
Jesse.
And of course, Burl Jones, the man himself. Marcella Barbecue Jones is also in the house, and so is Carl Ambresta. Iona Muchacha Door over there in Bath Village, and up in Montserrat Village, Hildred Davis. Adele McClendon, the daughter of the, oh dear, como esta muchacha? She is in the house. And so is Marcy Yelner. Condolences to you also, Marcy. And we have Paul Pemberton, Annette Morton, I said Gemini in there already, Gina Tyson, and Ermine Farrell, and of course, Robin Latham. These days, she never misses a show. Glad to have you on board, Robin. And all those who have joined the conversation, send a link. Tell somebody come and listen to the show. We got a lot to talk about today. A lot. So, that's, told I'm always have a lot, right?
Never without a lot. Every week is the same thing. I have a lot to talk about. It tells me that you make a lot of preparation, and that you don't come here flying on the wind.
Flying on the seat of my pants.
But you come prepared.
I try. All right. I just clocked on. Look what just clocked on. Ingrid Daniel Farrell. Ingrid is a bit late today, but we're always glad to have you. Jeanette Grell Hall is in the house over there in Budgeon Estate. And everybody is sending good afternoon to everybody, including Gigi and Jem and Iona. So we're glad to have all of you. And like I said, call a friend. Tell somebody, yeah, we got a good show going on today. A lot of things to talk about, so the more the better. All right. And so that is that. If you've been in touch with what's going on in the world today, there has now been a new war opened up. 3 parties involved thus far. I hope it doesn't spread any further. And I hope it's not a protracted war. But this morning, Iran was attacked by a combined force of Israel and an American military power. And ostensibly it was to deal a blow to the ballistic missile program and also to the nuclear program of the Iranians. And so the fight rages on. As promised, the Iranians have attacked Gulf states in retaliation where U.S. bases are located. And those bases, of course, are being used to stage attacks on Iran. And so the Iranians felt it's a legitimate target. And so thus far, it is not looking good. A missile from Israel apparently struck a school, based on the reports I'm seeing, with the loss of the lives of 51 schoolgirls. I mean, war is never pretty. And I'm sure warring partners or parties try to limit civilian casualties, but in the first day, you have 51 school children dead, as reported. The air raid sirens are going off all over Israel, all around the Gulf states, warning of incoming missiles from Iran. And I just, pray for cooler heads that maturity will prevail and persons would prevent any further escalation, but I don't see that in the cards right now. I don't think we are immune because we are so far away. You remember a lot of that oil comes through that Gulf area, and since the Venezuela situation is not in our favor these days, we might be facing shortages of oil and therefore increases in prices of oil. So don't think because they're so far away that we are somehow not going to be affected.
We have 2 war hawks who have something to hide and looking for deflection. You would have known that Netanyahu was under indictment in Israel for corruption in office. And so he has been doing his best to deflect from that. We know of the Epstein saga in the United States. Donald Trump is trying his best to deflect from that. So everything that he can do or they can do to deflect from what is ahead of them, they project it on somebody else.
Okay.
Iran has a right to defend itself. And you mentioned that warring parties try their best not to have casualties. Not Netanyahu. We see that in Gaza and what he did. He was not picking out. he went there to wipe out the entire population. And we listen to Trump rhetoric. And he has basically the same mindset.
Well, listen. I am not in a position of knowledge to know what they are seeing as threats. So I will defer to the experts. I'm just hoping that persons will recognize that their sovereignty involved. But we'll watch it as it goes along. I'm seeing here Tonya is saying a hotel in Dubai has been struck by missiles from Iraq. I'm hoping she meant Iran, because that will mark a real serious escalation. Okay, so let's move on from that. Let me say good afternoon to Frankie Lawrence and Delicious Nicholas Brown, who just clocked on. All right. Now, I remind you of NRP's breakfast on next week, Saturday. So far, we have had significant contributions by Tonya Powell and Chevy Caribbean Kitchen. All right. We are still looking for more donations. So if you are so minded, please give us a link and we will make it, a clean sweep so, more people can get a sumptuous breakfast courtesy of the NRP St. Paul. All right. You don't have to be from St. Paul. You could be from any constituency, and you're willing to send a couple of dollars to at least buy one breakfast for somebody. We'll be appreciative of that. And again, I remind you what's on the menu. We have, of course, the saltfish, the liver, sausages, eggs, Johnny cake, pancake, sauce, saltfish patties, green salad, hopefully some fruit, and local drinks. All right, so it's quite a big spread, and you're quite welcome to. If you don't want to buy a ticket, if you don't want to send a ticket, you can simply come and buy a breakfast and share in the love.
You miss out on the special good.
I said sauce.
Special sauce, and I think I heard somebody advertising fried fish.
Fried fish.
Yes,
no, I think fried fish or Gingerland.
Oh, for Gingerland.
Gingerland is also having a breakfast.
Okay.
On Saturday, the 7th, and so we wish them the best.
Okay.
But the best will be in Charlestown.
Well,
so
that's a given.
Yeah. All right.
We
So
are the best given.
I appeal again to all those who want to donate. Please make it happen. All right. I see. Gemini is saying we'll give you a contribution when I get back. No problem. I'll put you in my book. And at some point in the show, we'll ask 5 questions to go 5 breakfasts. And so get your minds ready. We're going to be giving you 5 questions only today. We only have a sponsor for 5. And so when at some point in the show, we'll start giving away these breakfasts to deserving people. And if you won a breakfast last time, please do not try to win a second one. Give somebody else a chance. Doll, I'm speaking about you. All right, so
Dolly winning and giving them to somebody else.
Yeah,
so
that's
okay.
true. That is true.
So she can continue. She's gonna pass them on. If she win all 5, she'll pass on all 5.
Okay.
Come out to be the same thing.
You got a point. All right. All right. I would have informed you last week that the station would have written to the supervisor of elections, inviting him to the show, whether by Zoom or in person. He has not yet accepted our kind request. He basically needs more time to put together what he says is a statement, a general statement regarding some of the complaints that has been tabled by the NRP, and I'm assuming by other parties, because I'm understanding that other parties and Sinkits have also reached out to the supervisor asking for an audience to clarify certain positions of the electoral office. So we will hopefully get him on next week. He did consider this week, but in his estimation, I assume it was a bit too rushing for him. But he needs to really come and answer questions, because, like I said before, it doesn't matter how hard we fight on the ground, making sure that persons are aware of the issues. The elections are won and lost in the electoral office. If there's dishonesty there, if there is bias there, you can expect that whatever we say will amount to a hill of beans if we do not get fairness coming out of the electoral office. So, again, I appeal to the supervisor of elections to come on this program and clarify certain very disturbing situations that we are quite aware of, and we need his input. All right? And so, Mr. Pete, you are the man on the hour, man of the hour. Please make it a consideration to come and clarify the government's position, since you are indeed the electoral supervisor of elections and therefore the man directly responsible to ensuring that these elections are conducted free and fair from bias.
I give him a half mark for at least acknowledging receipt of the invitation, because when we wrote to the Attorney General and the Prime Minister, up to this moment, none of them even acknowledge that they received the correspondence. So Mr. Pitts has done a little better than they. I'll give him a half mark so far.
Okay.
And this is critical, the point that you raise, because people must remember that our present Prime Minister told us in no uncertain terms, by words and demonstration, that the electoral process was deeply flawed, that there was corruption inside here, that things that needed changing. It is sad and very disappointing and also disturbing that he would have been in office now going on to 4 years, and he has done absolutely nothing to correct what he was so angry and upset about. And that is very, very troubling. It tells me that because he is now there, he is satisfied with what is taking place, because if he truly wanted fair elections in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the first order of business to make sure that we have free election and a truly democratic process would have been to correct the issues that he himself pointed out inside the electoral office.
And he was on the picket line.
He was on the picket line.
Okay.
So it's not only in words, but he demonstrated in words and actions.
Yeah.
And did absolutely nothing.
Yeah. But what is also very troubling to me, on that same picket line was the now Governor General, Marcella Leibel. She was there also.
She was on the picket line too.
She was on the picket line. And so you have the two most powerful persons in the Federation picketing the office, the electoral office on St. Kitts. And we have yet to see any movement in terms of correcting all the issues that they themselves said they faced.
And what they were crying about, we were crying about the same thing,
Yeah.
and we are still crying about it. But they have done nothing to remedy the problem.
And Tonya is correcting you, and she's absolutely right. The AG did go on Facebook with a post and basically
That's an insult to me.
chastised our party leader, Dr. Daniel Hodge, for even involving him in such a matter. Yeah, the arrogance and condescension is inescapable. And, the reason why persons laugh when he has a fall is because of his arrogance.
He's very arrogant.
And people cheer when you have bullies being put on their backsides. And he's a bully. He uses his office as the AG as a bully pulpit and feels that he can insult all who dare to question him. And so when he falls, people cheer, as they should.
We have a radio station that we are paying for. It's the nation station, ZIZ. When you have these issues that are so pressing, how hard it is to put out a statement on the radio station. We have several radio stations, including this one. Why not send out a press release? You run behind Facebook. I did not know he was on Facebook. I'm not trolling him on Facebook. And so he was not catering for me. You cater for me when you come to public media.
All right, we got to move on. CARICOM conference has now come to a close. As expected, we haven't heard a communique from the secretariat regarding what was agreed to and what wasn't agreed to. So we will await that, and if there are any pronouncements, any position papers or anything like that, we have not yet been privy to those. And so thus far, many persons have now classified it as a nothing burger. I'm not certain whether that's fair or not, but we will await to see what will transpire from the correspondence. Let's take this call. Good afternoon, on target.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
Back on the said you move on, but here's my question. Can we truly trust the supervisor of election when he knowingly and willingly gave information in the last election, last local election, when there was more ballots in the back than what people voted? He knowingly and willingly give that information. Can we trust that man? Good afternoon.
That's a question he will have to answer when he do come onto the show, because that's one of the questions that is being asked. What did you know and when did you know it, and what action did you take? All right. When there was a delay in counting, where were you in the whole discussions, in the whole challenge? You know, there was an election in St. Kitts. We were far ahead of them. There was on August 5th, sorry, and ours was in December. So there was time for him to be present on Nevis and to make sure he's supervising the elections in a format that nobody can question. But these are the kind of things that are irking people, all these discrepancies. And you recall, we were not successful in moving the court for the judicial review of the elections, because everything was geared at suppressing the case, making sure it never went to trial, which it never did. Mm-hmm. Persons are under the mistaken belief that the trial proceeded and NRP lost.
Nope.
It was a strikeout petition by both the federal government, the AG, and by the CCM Mark Brantley, that moved the court that, listen, the deadline had passed for NRP to submit their claim, and they never did it on time. Now, strangely enough, and I will tell you this, that matter, that decision by the court here on Nevis, the Supreme Court here on Nevis, the High Court, was overruled by the Eastern Caribbean Appeals Court and sent back for the judge to make a decision. The matter was never prosecuted any further because the belief was there was no way out of this. All right, so cut your losses and run. I think that was a mistake anyhow, but that's beside the point.
All right.
All right, but water under the bridge. The fact remains is that we have still not investigated the circumstances that are swirling around the results of that 2022 election. You would have thought that an incoming government would have seen fit to even not go to trial, but to investigate and report on what occurred to put the matter to rest. But all that happened was they moved the court and said, NRP failed in submitting the documents too late. We're not interested in really in a trial. We don't want this dirty water out there. And so let us focus on suppressing the trial, which they did. Okay?
Well, so there's one thing to add to what you said there, because another thing that the supervisor of election will have to answer and should answer is why did he conduct an election in Nevis with the caveat or the ruling that people can vote without ID, any form of ID. He was the supervisor of the election. Since we have voter ID introduced into our election, it is the first time it has happened. And what is so annoying to me, that we would have had an election in August 5th, right? Where it was mandated and it was emphasized that you must have one of 3 government IDs, issued IDs, to vote in elections. Fast forward to December 12th. The supervisor ran an election on Nevis with the ruling that you do not have to present any ID to vote.
And it was suspected and reported that no such ruling was made for the St. Kitts election. Anyhow, we got to move on. We were talking about the conference, the CARICOM conference, which closed on Friday. Well attended, all heads of state, heads of government, were in attendance. We don't know, a lot of the information is in closed doors. We know the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, came in for a few hours and had his bilateral conferences. And so we will await the Secretariat publication of what was agreed to from that. But strangely enough, one of the controversies that has arisen from that meeting surrounds the Premier of Nevis. And I have the video, which I wish to play for you, and then we'll have a discussion after that. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, here it is.
Okay.
The Premier of Nevis. He holds a title similar to the one of Tobago House of Assembly Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, and they spoke about issues surrounding autonomy. And interestingly enough, he praised Prime Minister Prasad Bisesa for inviting Mr. Augustine to the CARICOM meeting. According to him, he wasn't even invited, and he is the Premier of Nevis. This is what he had to say.
Well, let me put it in context for you. The 50th anniversary is being celebrated in St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm the Premier of Nevis, and I wasn't invited. So I wasn't a part of any delegation. I merely attended the opening ceremony like everybody else, and that was it.
Okay. Now, depending on a lot of issues, a lot of personal issues, you either laughed when he was rejected from coming up or not invited, or you said, it is the office of the Premier that should have been invited. And the spin that has now been put on, coming from Bastia, is that the Premier, while being Premier, is the leader of the opposition, and therefore there is no precedence for the leader of the opposition to be present or being part of a delegation from the government.
I love that argument.
All right. Now, it's an argument, it's what I call an argument of choice. Because while you might be the leader of the opposition, you're also the Premier. If by chance he was not the leader of the opposition, would he have been invited under the present circumstances? All right. And I don't think he would have been invited, even if he stood alone as the Premier of Nevis. There's more here in the mortar than the pestle. All right? We can sit and spin all this as much as we like. And we can agree or disagree that the office of the Premier should have been invited or not. What is indisputable is the fact that the Prime Minister was sending a clear message not only to Mark Brantley, but to his base, who have been growing very concerned about the closeness between him and the Premier of Nevis. They do not trust him. And there's good reason not to trust him. The evidence is there. He has mashed up every government he's been in.
And boasts about it.
And, so I think Dr. Drew was trying to clear the air with his base support. He was trying to send a strong message to Mark Brantley to get to the back of the bus. And because it is not the first time. And in the interview, in the conversation Mark Brantley had with the chief secretary from Tobago, he said in that conversation, I was not even consulted regarding the deportees from the US. And I'm the premier of Nevis. I wasn't even consulted. Because, and he's right, if a plane lands on St. Kitts with deportees, there's nothing to prevent them from coming across to Nevis. So why wasn't I even notified, much less consulted with? Because those are two things, different things. Consulted mean, let us work on a plan. Notice mean, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. He got neither one, neither a notice or a consultation. And there's no greater diss than that, where, you know, the Prime Minister is sending a clear signal that you toe the line. You are the small boy here, not me. Because again, he's playing to his base who has been watching the iterations of the Premier, trying to hoot Nevis against St. Kitts, and being very deliberate about it. And they're saying to the Prime Minister, you see what he did to Team Unity. You see what he said about Sean Richards. You see what he did to Vance Emery. Are you going to allow yourself to be next? And I think he's now exerting that kind of attitude that is signaling to the Premier that, you know, you're a small boy. No. If you use the argument that he's leader of the opposition, that doesn't hold any water either, and I'll tell you why. The leader of the opposition in this case is the greatest ally of the Prime Minister in Parliament.
That is so
There
true.
is no light between them, and the two have said it. They said there is no greater cooperation, there is no light between us. Mm-hmm. All right? So that doesn't even hold water. He is not a legitimate leader of the opposition, because he has never once, since 2022, criticized anything or hold the government to account for anything regarding so much matters regarding the budget, developments, infrastructure, the fair share. There's never been a point where the Premier of Nevis has held a position separate and apart from the Prime Minister.
I'll give him a bit of credit right here. He said that he will not, and he has not.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Dr. Daly, good afternoon. Good afternoon to Tulu.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You ever heard of that saying, play with puppy, puppy, lick your tail?
Lick your face.
Lick your mouth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, this is a Trump-like move to me. I'm sorry. It seems to me a way of distraction for everything else. You realize there's a whole lot of other issues that's been going on that are questionable, about the destiny, about the documents that weren't included, about the oversight committee. This is just, let's just throw something else in the fray and distract them. And there are a lot of games being played here. The unfortunate thing is that this is not a time to play games. And if you're going to play games, you better be on top of your game. So my question is, what is the Premier really complaining about? He was at the commencement meeting. We all saw him there. So why bring up this now? I was not even invited.
Well, it wasn't him who brought it up. The question was asked of him. He didn't bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the point is, he said that he was not invited. He was there.
But he was invited not to the plenary sessions, not to observe the proceedings. He was there basically to suck up the invitation of 200 other persons. And so it did not signify any role of importance, because, I mean, secretaries were there, permanent secretaries were there, and you're in the mix of the Premier of Nevis. So there's no importance really attached to that opening ceremony, really and truly.
My thing is, though, that he placed himself in that position. You see, when you're going to play these games and you're not really going to be the leader of the opposition like you should be, and all the other things you should be, you can't pick out one occasion where you're supposed to be a standout. You've already conceded to your players, adversaries, if you want to call them that, what you can be played with,
right,
and how you can be played, and that's what's happening here.
Okay, thank you. All right. Let me say this
before you come back. The Premier should not have been the leader of the opposition. He should have never taken it.
We know that too.
It's not for me and you. It is for the people out there who are listening to him and listen to what we are saying. Vance Amry was the Premier of Nevis. When the position of leader of the opposition came up, Vance Amry held it for a couple of months and he realized that it's not going to work. He handed over to Malcolm Gishard. When Vance Amry became the leader of the opposition again, he did not take it. He handed it over to Mark. I think it was twice he handed it over to Mark Brantley. So Mark Brantley knows that the precedence is there, that the Premier of Nevis does not hold on to the office of the opposition, leader of the opposition. So, but he's happy to hold on to it.
So your argument is the leader of the opposition is what stopped him from being invited?
I am not saying that.
No, but you are making some statements.
So I'm asking you. Based on what came out of Sync, it seems that what they're saying, because they're saying
what are you saying?
Well, I'm saying the very same thing.
That the leader of the opposition prevented him from being invited.
From being there.
Hold that thought. Good afternoon, on target.
Good afternoon, Dr. Daly. Good afternoon, Tulu.
Yes, Bros.
I want to support you with the leader of the opposition, what Tulu said he should not have been. Let us start from the beginning, because we not just start now with what the Prime Minister do. I am going a bit further back to come forward. Now, PAM and system came together as one. They contested the election as one. They lost. And so the Premier had the authority to choose whether he's going to choose the leader of the opposition and also the senator. If the two of us are one, well, give me one then no. That would have been the right thing to do. As far as I'm concerned, he did not do that. And we cannot now want to judge Dr. Joe unless we judge him, because his record speaks for itself. I'm coming forward to Nevis because you know what? Think it's Nevis are one, but it's two separate islands. And what Dr. Joe do, he do it as a Sinkits man. I am talking Nevis to Nevis. We had an election. NRP and CCM contested the election. NRP won 2 seats. I don't care what happened after that. NRP won 2 seats. NRP had the leader of the party winning her seat also. The Premier was the Premier before the election when NRP had 1 seat and he gave the 1 seat. The person who had that seat was also the leader of the opposition. They had an office. NRP got 2 seats now, but they don't have an office. Whether the person who won an NRP ticket or not is an independent candidate, independent person now. The thing is, Nevis is small and everybody know everybody. The Premier of Janice is the leader of NRP. And the right and decent thing to do was to give Janice that opportunity. It was not afforded to her. And so now, coming up to what is happening presently, we have Nevis is saying what Sinkis say. You know why Sinkis would make that excuse, whether they're right or they're wrong? Because he's wearing 2 hats. We don't know what would have happened if he had just used the nominated member and only been the Premier of Nevis. He is wearing 2 hats, and that had to be taken into consideration. That is the argument. Maybe that's not the reason, but that is the argument. But let us go back and recognize that our Premier would have done some things which was not very good to us as Nevis. I am an happy supporter, and I am angry the way my party leader is treated, but I can't do nothing. So I can't do nothing about what Dr. Joe did. Let us understand that power really belongs to God, because when we find ourselves in authority, we feel we could take advantage of whoever is under us. The time will come when Dr. Joe too will have his Joe. Good afternoon and goodbye.
Thank you very much. All right, let me continue real quick. Here's my position. The premiers of BVI, notice I say premiers of BVI, of Anguilla, Turks and Caicos, and there are all the other colonies of Britain who are the attendants. They are premiers.
Munster too. Yeah.
And Munster, yeah. Munster's a full member. But all the premiers were present. Why are the premiers?
They're the head of the island.
They're head of government.
Yeah.
Do we have an NIA?
Yes.
Is it a government?
Yes.
So why is it that we have not recognized the importance of the premiership or the office of the premier as a head of government?
That's a big, big question.
What I'm driving at is this. From 2015, starting after 2015, from 2006 to 2013, and I have this because I spoke to the man himself. From 2006 to 2013, Joseph Walcott Parry was part of the Dr. Douglas delegation to CARICOM. You want me to repeat it again?
Say it again.
From 2006, Joseph Parry was the Premier of Nevis. From 2006 to 2013, as Premier of Nevis, Dr. Douglas, he was a delegate with the Dr. Douglas delegation going to CARICOM. Did you know that?
I learned something.
My position is this. This is not about Mark Brantley. Whatever he did, he did.
The office of the Premier.
This is about the office of the Premier. You are representing a third of the population of the country. You are representing half of the landmass of the country. Except for national security, health and education, Nevis is practically autonomous. We have our own budget. We have our own ministries. That carries significance. As the Premier of Nevis, not Mark Brantley, leave he out of the conversation. All the nonsense he did to try to foot trick the Janice Daniel Hodge from being the leader of the opposition. We understand that.
Okay.
But on the basis of the fact that there's precedents
in the office
where Joseph Walker Parry attended as part of the Dr. Dendell Douglas delegation to CARICOM. What are we talking about?
We're going to come back to precedents. We'll touch two.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon, Dr. Daly. Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you. What's on your mind?
Okay, don't get me upset with you, okay? Joseph Walker Parry was a statesman. I understand what you're saying, but he was a statesman. So don't get me upset with you. And Mr. Parry wore one hat. One hat he wore. So you know.
Statesman or not, he was the Premier of Nevis. And it was the basis.
Yes,
it was the basis of the fact that he was the Premier. Not because he's a statesman. Joseph Walker Parry was in the opposition. He was never invited. He was always a well-standing minister. He was never invited.
Exactly.
So being a statesman does not qualify you to go to attend conferences at CARICOM. The fact that you are the Premier qualified you.
The holder of the office.
Of course. And so
the office.
Good afternoon, Target.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Daly.
Good afternoon.
I would just like to add further to what you said a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was a year when the Honorable Vance Emery was invited to Jamaica to one of them same conferences.
Yes, he was.
And he was left outside.
He was left outside? That's funny. I never heard that.
No,
I never heard that. Why would you be inviting Vance Emery and then leave him outside? That don't make no sense. That can't make no sense. Because these are by invitation. They just don't show up.
Mr. Daly.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Daly, I will go further.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you that the more egregious thing was that there was a discussion of some sort going on in that meeting about some issue with Nevis. I think it was geothermal. And Vance was left outside. Check it out.
Okay, I will. I'll definitely research it. Thank you for that. All right, let me continue. All right? Because it gets even better. Let me ask a hard question. Given Nevis' autonomy, or almost full autonomy, isn't it about time that it becomes automatic that any delegation going to CARICOM must include the Premier of Nevis? Given our unique status, because we have a separate government except for health, education, and national defense, shouldn't we now be moving more in a democratic system and accept the fact that the premiership is important? If the premiers of Anguilla and the rest of the associated states can come, they're not voting members, by the way. They're observers. They sit there, they take in the conversations, they can have sidebars with other leaders, but they cannot vote in any on any resolution. The observers.
They're learning.
Given the historical context between St. Kitts and Nevis, won't we want to make sure that whatever is discussed at CARICOM, that we have a front row seat in hearing it?
That should have been automatic.
So why are we debating this? Why isn't that part and parcel of the argument to say we must insist that the premiership of Nevis be automatically invited to CARICOM heads of state, heads of government? Why aren't we having that conversation? It makes no sense. Let's take this call here. Good afternoon, on target.
Good afternoon again, gentlemen. The caller a while ago was right that Vance Emery was left out of the meeting, but it had nothing to do with geothermal. What was said to Vance Emery was Douglas said to him, I don't feel good working with you nowhere as the Premier of Nevis and the leader of the opposition in the federal parliament. As soon as they came back from that trip, Malcolm Gishard was given the leader of the opposition in the federal parliament. Good day.
Again, it comes back to the point. You invited me. You knew I was leader of the opposition. You knew I was premier. Why do you invite me and embarrass me?
And then leave me outside.
It makes no sense.
No,
Vance couldn't have invited himself.
He was invited to the opening ceremony, but not into the...
Well, if you're invited to the opening ceremony, you stay in the opening ceremony.
Yeah, he was invited to the Autonomy with the delegations, serious meetings. Assuming.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. I'm a little bit perplexed by this whole conversation.
Perplexed?
Okay. Or confused, maybe. A heads of government conference. I agree that there definitely should be some sort of, that the premier should be included in our delegation. But how does they're taking like the heads of government photo ops. You're not saying that he should be there?
No.
Right. So at what level, so really and truly, at what level does he participate?
Observer. Basically, ex
As an
officio.
observer?
Ex officio. I mean, you're observer. You can't vote, but at least you are privileged to hear arguments and conversations, which would have direct impact on you and your own little country. This is not like Trinidad. This is not like Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua and Barbuda. No. We have more autonomy here on Nevis than those countries combined.
Well, are observers allowed to participate in the discussion?
Of course they can contribute. I was an ex officio member on a board on St. Kitts. I couldn't vote, but I was able to give my views and listen to conversations and give my observations. But I couldn't vote on critical matters. What's wrong with that? If we are trying to build a better union, where information is not a vacuum, where flow of information is not passed through second and third parties. Why are we fighting? Why are we fighting to keep this exclusive club to the detriment of the people where the power should be?
No,
this is not about Mark Brantley, no?
Well, the thing is, I was looking at the representation, right? Because, you see, I know I've heard it said, maybe on this program itself, that how come the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis don't come over to Nevis and talk to the people?
Yeah.
And you're wondering, well, is he just the Prime Minister of St. Kitts? Full stop? I don't think so. So it might be we might be operating at cross purposes when we say, but the Premier represents a third. Well, you can carry how far you want to carry that. You can say individual MPs represent whatever fraction.
Well, let me before you go on call, let me ask you one simple question. Do you believe that the Premiership of Nevis should have a seat not a voting seat, but a presence at CARICOM heads of government meetings?
A presence, yes. That's where I was trying to get at what. Yeah, I agree. I think I started out by saying yes, that it should be part of the delegation. I just wondered at what point does the participation end?
And this is where discussion need to be between the Prime Minister and the Premier, the cabinets of both governments, to decide where do we go with this. And the funny thing about it, Mark Brantley between 2015 and 22, when he was part of the Team Unity, a very powerful position, Minister of Foreign Affairs, did nothing to create that argument, to have that discussion, to say, wait a minute, I am the Premier of Nevis, and I am not part of a delegation going to CARICOM. I mean, he himself missed the boat on that, as he did with most other things when he was part of the federal cabinet. So he has a lot to take responsibility for. But I do not see Mark Brantley in this conversation. I'm seeing the office of the Premier, and people need to understand that.
I understand.
Well, okay, yes, that's how you're seeing it. But you know that Mark Brantley is not seeing it in that light. Mark Brantley, at his last press conference, he made reference to a documentary being done by PBS, I think it was, on Nevis. And I watched the documentary, and in it, he said words to the effect that I decided to take an oath of poverty and become a politician. I mean, that was so laughable, it became funny. but I think a lot of what he does, he thinks the mindset is one of convenience, right? And how would it benefit me?
Caller,
not so much Nevis, but me.
Caller, why do you think the Prime Minister forget Mark as the leader of opposition? We hear in the spin. Why do you think really and truly that Dr. Drew decided not to invite the Premier to be part of the delegation beyond the invitation for the opening ceremony? What do you think? Your gut feeling?
Well, my two things. I think he might be uncomfortable with the idiosyncrasy of him being leader of the opposition and still premier. I think there's that because I think he knows that puts us in a peculiar spot, right? So he knows that, but of course it's convenient to have the premier on his side.
Why is it a peculiar spot? I mean, if we are talking about game-changing attitudes, if we're talking about looking at real problems in real time, why is it? Because there's never been a precedent of a leader of the opposition attending, even as an observer. Why is it off the table to begin with? I'm trying to understand.
Well, it's a spot. I mean, it puts it in a spot because the conference do not include other opposition leaders, right?
Yeah, but
for consistency, you can't have one and then not the others.
But it is at the discretion of the Prime Minister who he walks with.
Yes, of course.
So if he wants to say, I'm going to break the mold on this, I'm going to walk with the leader of the opposition, what I want to hear from you, what harm could have come from that?
None.
Technically no harm, but in our system, usually the opposition is there to keep the government accountable and also offer alternative visions and so on.
Mm-hmm.
If they were totally in sync, no harm. But if they are not, it can be awkward, put it that way, right? I honestly feel that really and truly it should not happen that the premier, the leader of the opposition, because look at how it has worked out for us currently. You never ever hear the opposition leader holding the government accountable. And I don't think that is how our system was intended to work, right? That I think is the problem. And I'm sure it must have raised eyebrows. Well, put it this way. If you're opposition, let's say in Antigua, and you hear the leader of the opposition in St. Kitts is also part of the delegation, you say, oh yeah? Well, why not us?
Because
no?
it still comes down to the discretion of the Prime Minister. If he decides who he's going to walk with as part of his delegation, nobody can stop him. That is his right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, you might have full confidence in the discretion of the Prime Minister. When it comes to things like these, I think the discretion of the Prime Minister is for us to think about politics, right? Not governance. And I prefer not to rely on the discretion of any Prime Minister. I prefer to rely on the systems making sure that we have good representation and the right representation, and we don't have any awkwardness when we go to represent the country. Right?
That's a good. That is a good point.
I guess that's why I say I'm conflicted.
That is a good point, but I'm still come back to the point where I'm saying to you, if you look at our present leader of the opposition in the Federal House and the Premier, there's no difference between those positions and what the Prime Minister is doing. So if you're arguing that it depends on how the Prime Minister sees him as not being conflicting, then it's okay.
Well, that's fine, but we can't depend on the chemistry of any particular set of personalities.
And I agree 100%. So what do we put in place? Because I sincerely believe, and I think you agreed with me, that going forward,
the kind of you could say that the Premier be part of a delegation, okay? But make sure that it's at a level that we're not going to end up going into decision making and representation and with at cross purposes.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
you know.
100%. Thank you very much, caller.
Okay, then.
All right. Long discussion, but very important discussions. And I stand firmly on the belief that irrespective of who we have as premier right now, that Nevis being almost fully autonomous in this federal construct, need to be given the respect and accorded the respect of at least an observer status, non-voting status. Because like the caller said, you don't want cross purposes to be derailing any conversation. But if you look at the conversation between the Chief Secretary of Tobago and the Prime Minister, they don't agree on a lot of things. But she felt confident enough in herself to bring him along as an observer.
Tobago get representation.
Okay, let's take this call. Good afternoon, you're on target. Hello, good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
Dear, let me have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
There was a lot of premiers at the heads of government meeting.
Yes.
If my memory serves me right, all of them who was at that meeting said that they had put an application for their country to get full membership of CARICOM.
Yes.
Can Mark Brantley put that argument that his Nevis is going to get full membership of CARICOM?
He cannot.
Okay. I gone.
All right. We had some calls coming in. Here it is. Good afternoon. Good afternoon on target.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First thing I would like to correct is that Prime Minister Drew is the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Okay.
We have a way of forgetting to add on Nevis. And it's a federation.
Okay.
Is Nevis a member of CARICOM?
By extension through St. Kitts and Nevis.
But who is the chairman? Who is in charge? The Prime Minister is in charge.
He's the chairman, yes.
And the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, if he wants to take somebody with him, he can choose to do so.
Exactly right.
And if he does not want to do so, he doesn't have to.
That's right, too.
So nobody from Nevis, whether premier or whatever, they have any call to make any argument about it. If he wasn't needed, he wasn't needed.
Okay, thank you much.
Because we have a representation for Nevis through the Prime Minister.
Okay.
Because he's the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis.
Let me ask you one question.
He's the chairman.
He's
the chairman from St. Kitts and Nevis.
I understand all that. But are you satisfied with the leadership of the Prime Ministers or in present Prime Minister and past Prime Minister in reference to how Nevis is being treated?
Well, that's another story.
Oh, it is another story. Okay.
I'm talking about the basic.
Well, you're saying to me that whatever the Prime Minister does at heads of meetings is fine because he's the Prime Minister. I'm saying, but you can't then come back and say you can't come back and then say, well, we don't get fair treatment as in the present arrangement.
Well, it's up to us to fix that.
Well, that's the whole argument is. I'm making the argument that Nevis needs to be present.
No, you can't fix it at the CARICOM meeting.
Okay, all right.
The people in Nevis will have to fix it.
All right, thank you.
But always remember that the man is the premier, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. And when he goes anywhere, he's representing both islands.
All right, I understand the argument. Thank you very much. All right.
All right.
These phones are going crazy. Good afternoon, on target.
Keeping you busy.
We lost that one. Good afternoon, on target. I'm not hearing you clearly. You gotta get closer to your phone. Hello? I think we lost that call. Let me go back to the call again and see this call back. Oh, shucks. Good afternoon, on target.
And Tulu and Mr. Daniel, Mr. Daddy.
Yes, sir.
I don't care what anybody say. Our CARICOM leaders, they're weak. They're damn well weak. All of them is my platform. Make a spin in all of them heart before the session start. My platform, especially whatless one from down here. The whatless one should have given the bad man over there a chance to go to the thing too. He should have given my invitation. But they're playing game with the people. I think it's a Nevis. Because the destiny fall out, you know. They got to fall out, you know. The destiny, you know. The SSZ and destiny is the fall out between them.
All right.
But the ballot will tell it all. And I hope the Nevis people are wise enough to know that.
All right.
Mr. Daly, I enjoy a one-man match. Especially when my friend Mia Munley spot me because I know her well. And she take a picture in a man. She jam it on them, I tell you. She take a picture. Even though it was a two-man match, we ain't troubling nobody. We ain't up by the dam. We don't buy Marriott. They send police to us, you know. I tell them, well, come lock me up today again. Another demonstration, come again. We're moving. So they back off. These people, they don't want to hear the voice of the people. And they're going to shut jam down in this country. Otherwise, things will blaze. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, sir. All right. The phones are going crazy today.
That is good.
All right. So I want to read some of the comments on the Facebook feed because people have taken the time to write. And Susie Warren is saying, Mark is a leader of the opposition. Joe did not have to invite him. I think that has been established. Dr. Daly, are we as Nevision satisfied with the treatment that Brantley has given us? Of course not. That's a rhetorical question. Delicious Nicholas Brown, I think we are at the point. Well, you shouldn't have lost that now. I think we're at the point to ignore Mark. Nevis can't and won't get any better under his leadership. Gigi saying Mark really know how to stay relevant. Leonard Farrell, well, it cannot. Okay. Leonard saying it cannot. In response to the call, I think it was Papa who asked whether the Mark is a head of state. He said, well, basically, if he's not the head of the state, then head of government, he can't be invited. Only one head. There's no argument there. Okay, let's go to the calls. Good afternoon, your target.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Daly, this is how I will deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
You deal, I mean, the premier being the premier of Nevis and the leader of the opposition is not such a good thing. And it's been proven.
Caller, I don't want to cut you off. All right. I think we have moved past that argument where the dichotomy between Mark Breen, the premier, and leader. The question I'm put on the board is simply this: should the premiership of Nevis be accorded the courtesy of attending as an observer status CARICOM heads of state meeting? Has the government?
Listen, I'm trying to deal with it, but okay. you're not giving me an opportunity.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. What I was saying is that point that I made first, that you made, that is the leader of the opposition and the premier, is constitutional. You can't do anything about that. So I would just leave that and do something that you could do. Talk about something that you could do something about. He is the premier of Nevis. Nevis is a part of CARICOM. He had every right to be there. He is the head of Nevis. I agree it's in concert with the federation, but what is that saying if you leave him out? And these politicians have got to think about what they do before they do what they do. Because at the end of the day, he makes the prime minister look a kind of how. And he makes it proves what Nevisions are saying. They treat Nevis like a dog. And that goes without saying. You could see. This is evident. So I would suggest that we kind of not even bother about. Well, we fix that when the time to fix that. But this is not the time for that. This is the time where our leader should have been in the meetings. And I find that our leader having the responsibility to to negotiate and fight for us on the federal front. We gave them 3 seats, and we're not getting the representation that we deserve.
Okay.
And that disrespect points it clearly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Listen, I spoke to J.W. Perry before coming into the show. And I asked him point blank, and this is a senior statesman that all people can agree will speak honestly and truthfully to the situation at hand. And he said clearly, as a matter of courtesy, the NIA, the premier, ought to be invited to heads of government meeting as an observer. Very clearly, because he himself was accorded that courtesy under the Labour government led by Dr. Douglas on several occasions, not once, several occasions between 2006 and 2013. So why are we going about? This is not about Mark Brantley. This is about the devolution of power for Nevis. This is about Nevis asserting itself on the regional and a global stage. And we are getting caught up in this silly argument about what Mark Brantley doesn't deserve. This is about Mark Brantley. I couldn't care less about what happens to him. The point is, we are now trying to build a country, and we can't build it in a vacuum. If you're talking about bilateral relationships, regional trade and commerce, regional security, how can you leave Nevis out? We are one half of the federation. How can you leave us out? We are complaining that the Sinkist man will all be a Sinkist man. That we are not getting proper representation from Sinkists, and we don't expect any. Historically speaking, we have never gotten fair share. And we are fighting against the fact that we should have our premier present at CARICOM, where that conversation can occur and say, listen, boy, we're facing some problem in Nevis. I need you to bring this topic to bear. What are we talking about?
Take the call and let us come back up right there.
You guys can't be serious.
Let us come back right there.
Good afternoon, on target.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
The better in the government session, he might just speak. You understand? The better in the session, he might just speak. But you see, all them politicians who CARICOM, what they representing, where the people are getting out of it, where petition and the region get out of this. Why is it outcome of everything? All we can hear, we can know. Only one thing out there from politicians when they make campaign up and down. But a lot of things, they don't hide. Round table, only journalists are talk. Make sure you call him, you don't understand only journalists. We're supposed to be in everything because how we get in the job. Politicians are supposed to run from the people and the country. And no country. And they're doing as they like. They're doing as they like.
All right.
So, you understand?
Yes.
So, and then when you voting come now, they come to you and begging you and pleading to you. And you let our store, you start cook, and you can't buy your kids, and you can't buy your daughter, they're listening to you. But when you call them from phone, after that, you can't call some of them. You can't call some of them, they can't hear. Only a politician could call a politician.
All right.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you very much. Now, I want people to be adult about this. I'm trying to be. God, sometimes I don't make it, but I'm trying to be. This is not about karma for Mark Brantley.
I heard you.
Mark Brantley is not Nevis. We are giving him that power to be Nevis. So if Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge was the premier, would we have in this conversation? We'll be saying, give her, make sure she's there. If J.W. Perry was to come back as a premier, we'll say, give him. But because we have this hatred for this man, and rightly so, because he has screwed up Nevis big time, we are somehow throwing the baby out with the bath water. We are not seeing the forest for the trees. I mean, let us be really serious about this matter. Mark deserves everything he's getting. And more.
But not.
He's getting everything he's getting and more.
But not left out of the CARICOM meeting.
But who are we? The people of Nevis are the ones who are being underrepresented because we cannot trust anything that comes out of Sinkists in terms of representation. So this is not about Mark and making sure Mark goes. I don't care.
I heard you.
Let's call
take
you.
that call.
Oh, we lost that one. We got another one waiting here. Go ahead, Tulu. The one hung up.
I get you loud and clear, and like the Rastaman will say, I overstand you.
Mm-hmm.
But you just spoke about Mr. Parry between 2006 and 2013 was invited as part of the delegation. Precedence has been set. Mark Brantley was in an administration with Timothy Harris for 7 years. Okay? A part of that, he was the Premier of Nevis. Was he invited to?
I don't know.
Okay,
I
good.
don't know.
Did he make any noise?
No, he didn't make no noise.
So why
I'm not making noise with him.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about him because I'm listening to him.
Listen.
Okay.
This is a teaching moment. This is not what. Listen. If I could
am
have
in
used a
agreement with
different
you.
recording, I would have.
I am in agreement
This
with
is
you.
not a defense of Mark Brantley.
That is true.
This is a defense of the office of the Premier and for the people of Nevis
And the precedence
to
was set.
assert themselves.
The precedence was set by Dr. Douglas. Everybody who came after him should have followed in the same footstep and said, the Premier of Nevis will be part of my delegation because the president said,
Let me make this very clear. Because you know me. You know me very much. I've been fighting against Mark Brantley from since ever. Don't mix me up about defending Mark Brantley.
No,
Do not do that.
no, you're not defending him.
All right?
You're defending the office of the Premier.
I'm defending the office of the Premier
Yes.
and for what he stands for. If you believe in the autonomy for Nevis, if you believe Nevis should have a voice on the regional stage, if you believe Nevis deserves to be represented, that is the conversation we're having.
True.
I'm not defending anything about Mark Brantley, so I don't come at me with this nonsense.
No.
All right? Good afternoon, you're on target. We lost that one. Caller, you could call back. We lost that call. I don't know why it fell out.
You're working your hardest afternoon.
We need to slow down a bit.
You're not accustomed to be going so fast. Take your time and slow down. Hopefully, you're trying to pick up too fast. Okay? And so, okay, they're coming back.
All right, let's take it.
Yeah. Go slowly. Yes.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon, Dr. Daly.
Good afternoon.
The point, maybe I didn't do such a good job of making the point I was trying to make when I called in earlier. That we have just spent an hour and almost an hour and a half giving Mr. Brantley what he wants.
Which is what?
That's what
Which is what?
Talking about him. This is a mess.
We talk about him. We talk about him all the time.
From the moment, listen to me, Dr. Daly. Please, give me a moment. From the moment he came on talking about how he was not invited and whatever, he knows what he was after. He knows what he was setting up. And this has been a talking moment for us with that whole thing. So he's gotten exactly what he wanted. I agree with a lot of your points, and yes, Nevis should be included. But this games back and forth is getting us nowhere. It's not getting us anywhere. And Nevis is going to be on the losing end every bit of the time.
I disagree with not getting anywhere.
Why do you think that Joseph Parry was invited? How you present yourself is how people see you, and how they respect you, and how they lift you up.
Caller, did you join the show at the beginning when I said that I believe the objective of Dr. Drew was to put Mark Brantley in the back seat of the bus? Did you hear that part? Did you hear that part?
Dr. Daly, no, I didn't remember hearing that part. But my point is simply this. You are getting mad at people for making their points.
I'm not getting mad. Believe me, I'm not getting mad. I am not getting mad. I'm just...
It's right where we were set up to be. We are right where we were set up to be.
I disagree.
To talk about this for the rest of this afternoon.
I disagree with you. With all respect. I disagree with you.
Okay. All right.
Well, thank you. And the reason I disagree is this. the conversation has moved on from whether Mark Brantley himself should be invited to whether the Premier should have been invited. The conversation has moved on from whether, as a standing order, the Premier should be invited as a part of the delegation going forward. I don't want to hear nothing about Mark Brantley. This conversation has set up a significant discussion as to the role of Nevis in CARICOM. And people are not seeing it. We have now pierced the veil of what is important regarding Nevis's role going forward as an integral member of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is not about Mark Brantley.
And your point is valid because we are making laws and we are repealing and we do laws to come up with present times and to improve. This should be improved.
Exactly. You're talking about power. Yes. Good afternoon, your target.
Yes, Dr. Daly, good afternoon. Yes, I understand what you are saying about Nevis and they should invite Mark or whatever, but Mark itself doesn't care about Nevis. We who care about Nevis, he don't care whether we care about Nevis, yes or no. And he deserves, they don't trust him, not even sitting down in CARICOM and observe. You don't trust him, just maybe pretending he trusts him, but he don't trust Mark. So we care about Nevis. Mark don't care about Nevis. What he sense waste time and invite him there to sit down to observe? What are you going to tell to the Nevis people when you don't care about Nevis? He didn't care what Nevis people say about Destiny. He went on with it. So why should, if he's not invited, why should we even talk about it? Because he don't care himself. You know? So that's my piece I got to say.
Thank you very much, caller.
Caller, we are not addressing Mark as a person. We are now addressing the position of the Premier of Nevis, whether it is Mark, Janice, Tulu Weeks, or Harry Brooks. Whoever holds that office, we are saying, should be afforded the right, and if it is not in law, we need to make amendment and put it in law that Nevis would be represented. One of the short change that we got out of this thing, going back to what Brantley said, he said he was not invited, he was not consulted. So there is nothing that the Prime Minister discussed inside the cabinet, if we are to believe the inside CARICOM, if we are to believe Brantley, there's nothing that he discussed there has an informed position from Nevis. So at least he should have had some discussion with the Premier of Nevis. This is what we are going to be discussing. What is your view? What is the Nevisian view on this? So when he goes there, he is presenting for both St. Kitts and Nevis. He cannot represent me when he has not discussed with my Premier.
Exactly. Thank you, Tulu. Let's go to the call.
Dale, you're absolutely right.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Tulu, I agree with you. Once anybody hold the office, they should be able to go to any CARICOM meeting to represent the state. But it was deliberately done, and Mark got to buy where he will. They played a game with Nevis and St. Kitts people. So let take where he get, and I agree with the caller, Mr. Daly. We shouldn't waste in we show he's a waste. He is a waste. Have a good afternoon again.
Listen, people, the funny thing is, people are saying, we are wasting time on this, but they keep calling in to continue the conversation. I don't get it.
But brother, the truth is, it is not a waste of time. What we are missing is the big picture, and we are talking about not the holder of the office, but the office itself.
Thank you, Tulu. Let's take this call. This is the last call on this topic. We're moving on after that. Good afternoon. You're on the last call about this matter. Go ahead, please.
Hey boy, you have got me on the last call.
You tell me you're well?
Hope I not going to give me the nickname the last call.
Go ahead, please.
Anyway, good afternoon. Anyway, mine are going to be different. So, I'm glad that you put me on the last call. Premier Jew, I think my opening statement on the same CARICOM platform said that here the Prime Minister and Premier Brantley, the leader of the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
And he go to Premier Brantley and say, Mark, how we got one asset, not the federation, with that can benefit both of us. You remember that?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Right. So he's saying, put opposition aside, put government aside, and let me come together as one common good for the federation. It so happened that this particular one for invite was not a common good for the federation. So you see the reason why we made the last time.
All right.
Okay, Tom?
Yeah, I got you clearly. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Folks, we're going to move on from this because it's been an hour and a half, basically. And we have
it's worth it.
And I believe it's worth it.
And you still have some clarification to do. We still have to go spend some time to get people to understand. It comes time when we separate the man from the office. The office is bigger than the man. And what we are discussing here is that, and I always believe that, from the moment we went into independence, and Nevis, 2 seats then, was not automatically a part of the governing structure of St. Kitts Nevis. My argument has always been, whoever has the majority seats on Nevis should automatically be a part of the federal government. Why Nevis seats must be in the position of opposition or in collision? It should be automatic.
You've always heard from this platform fighting for the inclusion as many divisions as possible.
Mm-hmm.
We have been belly aching by the fact that we do not get fair representation on the boards,
True.
national boards, National Bank, Social Security, National Insurance, the CIU. We have not been included in the Sovereign Wealth Fund board. We have been advocating for greater inclusion in divisions, in decision making, into hearing the situation that affect us directly. And we are here discussing the inclusion of the premiership in CARICOM.
Not the premiership.
Not the premier.
Say it again.
The premiership.
The premiership.
And persons are getting caught up in and being unable to separate karma, which I recognize, and the bad behavior and poor presentation by the premier from the office of the premiership.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anyway, we're moving on. We had a situation at the solid waste dump some weeks ago. A big fire erupted, and it smoldered and continued to smolder for weeks on end, causing very much disturbing health conditions for persons in the area, one of which, of course, was Kibo at Kibo's garage over there at Long Point. I would have been invited by him to do a video of the situation. I did. And a few days later, there was a contingent from the Nevis Solid Waste Board, as well as a consultant brought in, I don't know from where, to determine how best to treat the smoke and fire at the dump. Now recall that we have been speaking for weeks on how best to do it. You have to now use a boom from an excavator and rip the cell open and either pour in water or pour in soil.
You were saying that at the time.
We keep saying it. All right? The consultant came in and told them the same thing.
You made a mistake.
Nope. And so, right after the consultant told them that, they went down there with an excavator, ripped open the cell, and poured in tons of dirt, smothering the fire. And so, Kibo now has
a little bit
of relief from the smoke and the fire.
But you told him that from the beginning.
Well, who am I? But it gets even better. I was called 2 days ago and said, you think the fire was bad? There's human waste being brought over from St. Kitts by the shipload, transported to the landfill, pumped out, returned to St. Kitts for additional shipments to come.
Wait.
You know what I'm telling you? So, we all know the circumstance at the landfill regarding the disposal of human waste. It's simply an open pit where the trucks back up, discharge their waste untreated in an unlined, no lining in the pit of human waste. Raw sewage from the restaurants along the beach, from restaurants inland, from households and hotels across the island of Nevis. They're simply pumping those septics dry and dumping it over at the sanitary landfill. And I hate to use the word sanitary landfill because there's nothing sanitary about it. But they're dumping tons. One of those trucks holds about 2,000 gallons of human waste. And so as one pit fills, they move to another pit and dig another one. This is a circumstance over there at the solid waste dump. We are creating an environmental time bomb. We are playing with people's lives.
Really?
Because having untreated sewage in the open goes against every edict that physical planning prescribes to each of us who are homeowners. They come and inspect your septics and the soakaway to make sure it complies to specifications for good reason. Mm-hmm. They do not want any contamination pervading in the communities, and so they make sure these things are built in a certain way. Why is it doesn't apply to solid waste? Why is it that open pit dumping of human waste from across the Federation now, it's finding its way to the dump over there at Long Point?
But wait, I'm a very, very slow learner. For years, you've been saying to the people of Nevis that the Nevis Island Administration, based on Nevis, dug pits, pumped into them raw sewage from Nevis. Now you're saying to me that in addition to the Nevis sewage being going out there at the landfill, the Nevis Island Administration has agreed for sewage to come from St. Kitts to throw on Nevis in that landfill? Is that you just said to me? St. Kitts now has much more lands than Nevis. They can dig pits down there if they want to do the very same thing and throw them in their pit rather than bring them on Nevis.
There are pits at Connery, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, let's go.
Good afternoon, on target.
Yes, good afternoon. I can't believe what I'm hearing here. No, I mean, seriously. Whose bright idea this was?
Which part?
I mean, you're telling me that human waste is coming from those septic trucks, are coming over to Nevis and dumping it in Nevis?
That's what happened. That's a fact.
Do you recall some election there when they were saying that we were supposed to get waste from
Dubai?
Yeah. You remember what a big stink to use to use a pun that was?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you mean to tell me that years after they're going to come back with something like that? Not even, well, it might have been a fake news then, but you're telling me that this is actually happening? People got to be crazy.
That's unbelievable.
I'll tell you what happened. When news got out that this was happening, the last 2 container loads were sent back to St. Kitts.
After the news got out.
So somebody ain't had the good sense from the beginning? it. Should I tell them that no, this ain't gonna look good. It ain't gonna look good. It ain't gonna smell good.
Well, my
position. And that reminds me.
Mm.
That reminds me. Someone on a program down here told me to listen to the press conference, the Premier's press conference, and he was making a song dance about the University of some university in Switzerland. I think it is Zurich. It might be. But some university, I think, in Switzerland. They are coming here to do some kind of DNA research on DNA, the effects of DNA in space. And what it reminds me of, I think there was something with stem cells research in it as well. And this reminds me of this stem cell debacle that we had as well. That just gone out the door. You hear anything about it. But it was a big thing then. And all I'm saying is, this and any kind of, I don't know if they have a scientist as an advisor or environmentalist. But these kind of things should not be left to political decisions, or for decisions by politicians, because they know nothing about it, right? And I would hope that this, as well as that whatever experiment that's going to be done, is backed up by some kind of scientific consultant, or even somebody who deals with ethics, because I don't even know if they look at that aspect of it. But at least they have the benefit of that kind of expert opinion, because left to them, all they're probably going to see is the dollars. They ain't going to see the cents. Okay? So, but this is almost funny. It is really laughable, man.
But it's one federation, you know. If you got shit in Connery, you got shit in Charleston. This is
Hey.
Thank you, caller. One saying bring none from Church Street. It's right.
It's not fine. No way to bring no sewage from St. Kitts to dump it in on Nevis.
All right.
We don't have a sewage treatment plant on Nevis.
We get into that just now. Let me take this call. Good afternoon, on target. Oh, we lost that. Now, there's a sewage treatment plant on St. Kitts at Frigate Bay, operated by Frigate Bay, Marriott's. It's not working very well.
It's not working.
The smell has been overwhelming. But this incident, and you always have to look for the bigger picture in these circumstances, just like you have to look to the bigger picture of Brantley not included in this delegation. There's always a bigger picture that we need to examine. This gives us an opportunity now to look at carefully, how do we treat sewage going forward? Can we continue to have open pit dumping? That is what I'm taking away from this. Where are the plans for sewage treatment? When these septics are emptied, where should it go? Into the earth? Or should it go through a treatment process to extract the solids, discharge the liquids in a safe manner, of course, and deal with it, make sure there's no disease a disease environment being created from flies landing on these feces and depositing themselves on people's food. It gives us the opportunity, my listeners, to greater understanding of how do we treat sewage. It's bigger than just truckloads of sewage coming from St. Kitts. It has to do with where do we go forward from this. I saw a letter from Public Works on St. Kitts, dated 2024, asking persons to bid or put in bids on a sewage treatment plant for South Frigate Bay. Mm-hmm. Right? Nothing has, I don't know where that is. But at least the conversation has started. Where is our conversation here on Nevis? There are open pit dumps at Connery on St. Kitts. Open pit, the same style as Nevis. And the reason that they did not go to the dump in St. Kitts because they was full. So they came to Nevis. And we accepted them. The problem is this. If the government of Dr. Drew is putting out a notice inviting tenders for a sewage treatment plant at South Frigate Bay, how come there's not a tender document for one at Connery, where the locals send their waste? Why is it only in the tourist areas you have modern sewage treatment, but you who live next to the Connery dump have to deal with an open pit dump?
I will bury you. I
mean, Connery is there, Cairn is just up the road, Calf Moon, over the hill is Frigate Bay.
Basti is just there.
Basti is right there. So why are we being so selective in where we construct these treatment plants for human waste?
Because of who occupy the area. Depends on who occupy the area. But every division, Dr. Daly, should be incensed that our premier or the Ministry of Health would agree, whether it is on a long-term basis or short-term basis, to ship human waste from St. Kitts into an open pit in Nevis. Anyway, Nevis.
It should never happen.
It shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen. That's a fact. It should never have happened. But it did. Good afternoon, on target.
Good afternoon. I know fire up the whole up on the truck.
No, we don't deal with violence.
Up that bad, no light off, nothing.
We don't deal with violence.
And everything, no violence, but that's it bad. I work in the sugar. Let me tell you something before you get cut off, because it was one John. Why Carl like you said it? I work in the sugar cane. Thinking got plenty more land. I will leave it that. Because land down you got in World Town, you know that's from Central Bank coming over to Canary. You know, for the land, I work in the sugar. I want to end the sugar. Because you can't hear me song about and do that. Then another place. But I'm not craziness. I work in the sugar, so I know what land thing we got, or why not got. And the only point land, then election. And I'm not turning upon one land. All right, God bless.
Thank you, Lord. All right.
And I'm not blaming St. Kitts for that, you know. I'm blaming Nevis. The representation that we have here on the island of Nevis. You've been speaking about it for a long time. Our premier is an absolute object failure, and he only see one thing. What is going to benefit my family? And he has made it abundantly clear. He told us that the only thing that matters to him is his family. He don't care less what we have to say. So all the talking that we talk here this afternoon, Dr. Daly, whatever position that we took, according to the premier, that doesn't matter him. That doesn't disturb him. What matters to him is what happens within his household, his wife and his children. And somehow we has not gotten that. Well, if this matter of he allowing sewage to come from St. Kitts to come to Nevis and dumping an open pit on Nevis does not wake us up, something is fundamentally wrong with us, brother.
There are 3 pits over there. 3. Each can hold 1 million gallons. You can tell you, there are 3 pits over there. If you go over there to visit the dump, make sure your AC is working. Because if you dare open your windows, even a crack, you will be swarmed with flies.
Oh, you visit there sometimes?
Oh, yes.
Oh, you visit there
Oh,
sometimes?
yes. They come right in your eyes, in your nose, in your mouth. They are fearless and they stink. You understand? You talk to anybody who lives near the dump or works near the dump, and they'll tell you, you better have screens, you better have protection against these flies. These are facts. Let's take this call. Good afternoon, on target.
Yeah, man, good afternoon to you fellas, man.
Good afternoon.
You know, I just want to talk in general terms today, man. It's amazing to see what's going on in this twin island state of St. Kitts and Nevis. In particular, Nevis, to hear that they're dumping sewage in Nevis Man, this stuff is unbelievable, bro. He always gonna take a Nevis man to sell out Nevis. And down in Sinkers, they got some fellas down there that's promoting standing up for Nevis. But Nevis man and Nevis people is keep selling Nevis short. But I really wish you guys the best, man. But this stuff, this is what them man think about us. The place is full of shit, doo-doo. Who is really gonna clean up this mess in Sinkers and Nevis? Man, the place is full of doo-doo.
All right.
That's what they really think about us. They now is dumping shit on us because that's how they feel about us, really and truly. And Mark should not stand for this shit. The Nevis people should not stand for this shit. If Mark is the problem, you're gonna have to get rid of this man. And I'll leave it there, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir.
I want to encourage Ball to encourage all the persons who listens to him to join me and you, Dr. Daly, and him in voting out the CCM administration out of office. And I want him to hear him make this loud, clear call to everybody. We need to vote the CCM administration out. Not just move them. Tell them we got to vote against them.
Let's take this call here. Good afternoon, you on target.
Yeah, good afternoon to the listening public. Good afternoon to you guys in the studio.
Yes, sir.
Here, my greatest concern. The Negro man said in a press conference, right, that the facility has reached to its maximum. The facility has reached its maximum. That means it's full. But up to now, we not tell nobody. Since he know it's full, what you going to do with it? Because he's just saying, up to now, he not say one other word how you going to deal with that facility. But he said full. I just recently suggest that they're going to go and break in ceremony with new projects. Where you get garbage in your house, in the yard, it's all there full. It's all there full. So when you don't build this next project, we're going to put the garbage. We're going to throw them in the house, throw them in the yard. Good afternoon.
It's a serious question. What do we do? We are encouraging persons to come to the Federation, and we have not yet put in the requisite infrastructure to deal with the increase in population. Let's take this call. Good afternoon, on target. Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Just some clarification I wanted.
Yeah.
You said that you saw tenders for a treatment plant in Frigate Bay?
Let me read it to you for you. I have it on my phone here. Let me give me a second when I pull it up.
Because
where is it? Where is it?
Go ahead, teacher.
Do you have a picture of it as well, the location? Because
He says the government of St. Kitts and Nevis invites contractors to bid on the following projects. 1. Proposed construction of the South Frigate Bay Beach enhancement project, and it includes 1. Sewage treatment plant and infrastructure, and 2. Telecommunication and electrical infrastructure. Tender. Oh, I lost it for a minute. Tender documents can be obtained in the Public Works Department, Wellington Road, Bastille, on St. Kitts, Monday, 22nd of June, 2024, for a non-refundable fee of 500 EC.
2024?
2024, Monday, June 2024.
Because, you see, I wonder if that is just for the strip, the Frigate Bay strip.
I don't know.
Because that would be so figured. Because as you pointed out, something is wrong with the existing sewage plant over there. I mean, I would have thought they would have attempted to fix it in time for the heads of government conference. But I mean, just passing there, I don't know how the residents that close there survive. You know,
it's bad.
And so I wondered if this was an attempt to fix that problem. But it's 2 years ago, so I don't know.
But the question,
not 2 years. It's a 2024. Yeah, 2 years ago.
June. Yeah.
Right.
Well, my question to you is simply this: those are tourist areas. What happened to the non-tourist areas where residents, locals live, like Connery?
You know how long we've been talking about a sewage. Well, it would have involved a treatment plant as well, but underground sewage lines for Bastia, right? Rather than dumping stuff straight out into the Bastia, Roadstead Harbour, you know, and nobody seemed to want to prioritize that project, and I suspect the difficulty might be part of the difficulty might be the fact that you're going to have to build not only the treatment plant but some pumping stations as well to make sure that the plant is in a suitable location. You obviously can't build it next to the sea.
Yeah, but my thing is this: you just paid $50 million for a desalination plant you don't need.
Priorities. Yeah. Priorities. Yeah. You know, that's the long and short of it.
All right, thank you, caller.
Okay.
All right. Okay, we're moving on. There is. Where am I? All right. Yeah. There is, for those of you who have been following on Facebook, there has been a publication in the New York Times about Destiny, about the SSC. I was interviewed along with Livingston, Stoneman Williams, and a few other persons, Dr. Hodge and Nevis, regarding, you know, the Destiny project. And if you have not read it yet, please take a read of it. It's a bit, you know, it's longer than normal reading, but it's worth reading. And there's some very important takeaways from it, which you should be aware of. And one of them has to do with the fact that the authors of this article reached out to the Premier for his input on the article. And of course, there was they tried to reach him via email, WhatsApp, phone calls, and he did not respond to any conversation or any attempt to reach him for a conversation. They also reached out to his wife, who is the realtor in charge, and again, no can do. And so the publication went out without the input of those two persons who are pivotal in the discussion regarding Destiny. All right, so if you haven't had a chance yet to read it, take a read and digest what is being said. It's not a sharp elbow kind of publication. It's very easy to read, easy to understand, but it shows the global context and the threat at which we are facing here on St. Kitts and Nevis, because they put it in the perspective of a worldwide move by very rich people to be asserting themselves and asserting and inserting themselves into small territories that are broke, whose GDP is slow or low, whose debts are exponentially high, and they have realized that Mark Brantley and the NIA fit the bill, and that is why we were chosen. They look at what they call cash-strapped jurisdictions, and we fit the bill. It was not by accident, and we've been saying it all along. It was a targeted approach, because if you look at the budgets for the NIA since Mark Brantley became Premier, the budgets have been escalating. We moved from 100 million plus to 200 million plus under his leadership. We have moved debt from 400 million to 600 million. We are paying $3 million a month just in interest payments. It is unsustainable. And so they realize he is weak, he is in desperate need for financing, desperate need for development, and therefore that was the basis for which he was approached. And this negotiations with NIA has been going on for a long time. The first indication we have of actual land sales was in 2019, when people were approached. So it tells you, shortly after the premier became premier, negotiations started with the people of Destiny to create this development here on Nevis. No accident. All right.
Is it possible that some of these communications that are written can be put in what do you call that, the voice over them, so that people who can't read could get them?
There is you're right. That's a good point. There's a voice voice recording that's accessible from the same post. I'm not certain how to divide it out from or tease it out from the general publication, but it is there. You just go to the link, and there is the option of hearing it rather than reading it. All right, so you just have to click on the link, and you have access to the voice presentation.
That is good for people like me who can't read.
All right,
we could listen.
I think we have now. There's one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and that
but Dele, I think it's important that you point out the key parts of what this New York Times put in. Is there any key things there so that people like me could glean it and understand it?
It's nothing you didn't hear before.
Okay.
The same points. These people are trying to set up a state within a state, to have their own autonomy, to have their own government and police and all that. Things that we know of. But they've put it into a broader context of the movement of these rich people to try to co-opt these islands from one end of the Caribbean to the next.
So they basically tell us that we must be on our guard and be careful?
Basically that.
Okay.
All right. There's a matter that has been heating up a bit, and it's a court matter regarding a company out of the U.S. called Intercoastal Finance Limited. Limited. They would have deposited $50 million in 2020 at the iBank up there in Barnesgate, and try as they may to have gotten their money back out, there has been no movement on refunding these people their money, and so it has resulted in a court case. And there was a proceeding in Puerto Rico and one in America, and there has been no movement to address the claim. So what the lawyers for Intercoastal Finance Limited has done is shifted focus away from the bank up there in Barnesgate and put it squarely on the NIA, because they are claiming in their suit that the NIA did not do a very good job at policing, as required by law, the operations of that bank. And because they did not police that bank properly, it caused the bank to be in a financial position where they cannot pay them back their money. It's a long shot, but hey, if we, the people of Nevis, lose that suit, which totals about $70 million US, it will cause a cascade of other suits, because there are a lot of other suits against that bank and the other bank, the other international bank here, the Bank of Nevis International. And so a lot is in the balance. This is so serious a charge that the government has seen fit not to use the legal advisor and her team at the legal department, but to bring in a King's Counsel at great expense to deal with this matter.
It's big.
It is big. It is huge. All right? And so the takeaway message is what? This is not just about the case of this bank against this depositor. This is a case where the whole financial services department is under scrutiny,
because
by the world.
Bonnie is under scrutiny too.
Yes, it is a bigger 30%. I think about 30% of our GDP comes from financial services. It's a significant player, and if this thing goes against the government, it not only would put us of course, immediately in the firing line for great debt, but it also will truncate or slash deeply into the confidence investors have in our offshore services, that they would not be regulated properly enough for depositors to move their money as they wish. So it has severe consequences. And in this time around, the federal government is not a party to it. The federal government made an application to remove themselves from the matter because the Nevis Financial Ordinance is an ordinance that Nevis is responsible for, not the federal government. And so they petitioned the court to have themselves removed. So we are there by ourselves. The NIA, not the federal government. The NIA is in it by themselves. And when I say the NIA, I mean the people of Nevis is in it by themselves. And we better not lose this.
So who is the regulatory body? Because I know our banks, the Caribbean.
FSRC is a regulator, is the body, is the committee that deals with regulation of offshore banking, offshore companies. These banks are not regulated by the central bank. They're regulated through FSRC, and they have a regulator. Our regulator is being sued along with the Premier of Nevis as the Minister of Finance.
The next question. When was this iBank open? You have any idea what year?
2018 or 19, somewhere there.
2018, 2019.
Yes.
By 2020, these people invested $50 million inside that.
Well,
company.
deposited $50 million. Yeah.
And cannot get back their money?
That is the crux of the matter. They have been trying to get their money back. They can't get it out as yet. We don't know until the iBank submits their defense. We would never know. But the iBank is not being sued here in Nevis. It's just the NIA.
The NIA.
Yes.
I understand. Now, how long was the First Lady, the director of that bank?
I tell the truth, we discovered she was a director right after the Premier issued the license for her, for the bank, but we don't know. I don't know how long she remained on the board. I don't know.
Because
I know you're going at, but I don't know.
I am seeing this $50 million. I am seeing Jonathan Christian Berry. I came in here and invest $250 million into a different company.
2.5 million.
2.5 million. Okay, in a different company.
First Fidelity Insurance.
Yeah. And you look at the common denominator in these two institutions. Common players. Jonathan didn't get back his money. He died now.
But I don't know where his money went.
Well, he said where he paid it to. It's not over there, but it's in the next. He said that I paid it into this, and he said exactly who he paid it to. He was instructed to pay it to. I'm just saying that there's a common denominator here. That wherever these two. Okay, let's move on.
It can't be missed.
It cannot be missed.
It can't be missed. I mean, we have been. We have been on this treadmill with these two people for a long time. So anyway, folks, we got 5 questions. If you are still on board for the rest of the program, we got 5 questions. Very easy questions. So if you want to call in and try to win a ticket, whether you want to keep it for yourselves or donate it, if you have already won a ticket where you will be at the breakfast, allow somebody else to win.
Donate it to somebody else.
Yes. All right, so this will be the last thing for the show today. We're going to discuss. All right. Question number one. How many acres does Destiny plan to take up? How many acres does Destiny want for their project?
To start the project.
To start the project. How many acres?
Okay. I know that, I can't tell you.
How many acres does Destiny want for their project?
So, while we are waiting for them to call, let me go back to the last subject. What do you think is the probability that there can be a conviction against the NIA
I don't know.
based on negligence?
I don't know. I can only report what is before the court, and I do not know the defense that the Premier will put up or the NIA will put up. That will come out in the wash. But the mere fact that you have a Casey being hired tells you it's serious.
Are you hoping that there will not be a conviction so that we will be placed on the hook for that?
Of course, I do not want Nevis to be on the hook.
Okay.
Then we all pay.
All of us have to pay. So we are praying and hoping that the court will rule in favor of us.
Of course. I'm a division first.
And then you're in a catch-20 because you have these bad actors keep getting away and keep getting away.
I know.
And you want to see them punished.
Well, not with me in it.
Well, not with you in it.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Yeah, let me come back in real quick. Let me ask you two quick questions, Daily. One, the bank that you're saying suing the NIA. There was a legislation that was passed recently in the federal house, right, to allow entities to sue the NIA, right?
Yes.
Okay, and secondly, so now we give that green light to that bank to sue. Secondly, the SSD law.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm incorrect, anyways, you just correct me. And secondly, right, the SSD law. Now that the Premier put that paperwork on the Prime Minister's desk, and the Prime Minister seems like the buck stops with the Prime Minister. Could the SSD law, when it was presented, could it have been presented in a way that the bucks would have stopped with the Premier?
I'm not certain I understand what you're asking me.
Meaning that the Premier is now dependent on the Prime Minister to sign off. But could the law have been put in a way that the Premier himself would have had the last say on the projects on Nevis?
Well, the way I can only go by what it is. It is what it is. The way the law is constructed.
Because now we see the Premier is technically complaining. There might be some fallout between him and the Prime Minister over the ship, because you mentioned that last week. But what I'm saying is, where I'm pointing to is, if he didn't want the bucks to stop with the Prime Minister, he could have been presenting that bill in a way that the bucks stopped with him. Couldn't that have been? And I'll
thank you.
You understand what I'm asking, right?
I understand you. Thank you very much. All right.
There's a possibility.
We are still waiting for a call.
Gigi, answer your question.
Gigi didn't need to call into the question.
Oh, you need to call in.
You can only call in.
Okay.
Because I'm not taking Facebook answers.
You're not taking Facebook answers?
No, you got to call in.
But you're taking Facebook sponsorship. I'm just asking. No, I'm just asking. No?
All right.
So then, what we have to say to the caller, I made abundantly clear that this legislation, SSC legislation, was clearly not crafted by Nevis or Sinkits and Nevis. We would have had evidence that the Destiny people had significant role to play in this, perhaps a greater role in getting on us.
All right, let's see this call here. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Hi, Dr. Daly. Am I too late?
No, you're quite on time.
Is it 2,400 acres?
2,400 is correct.
You're guessing. The person is guessing. They didn't give an answer.
2,400 is correct.
They're guessing.
When you're trying to...
It is.
It is.
And who it
so
is?
I put a question mark on my comment earlier. You know, it is plain. It's 2,400 acres.
Okay, good. That's all like that.
So who you want to have this ticket?
I'll think about it and call you back. I want to give it to somebody who needs it.
All right. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay.
All right. Let me just put down your name here in the meantime. All right.
So all the evidence.
All right, have a good day.
No, hold on. We got to ask the question. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
Yes, you ask the second question.
Yeah. Okay. Second question. This is even easier one. We have been speaking about it for some time. How many acres the government said they found in the zone that was never that were never titled? How many acres of untitled land did the government say they found in the zone?
Okay.
How many acres of untitled lands did the government say they found in the zone? Very easy question.
Yeah, so the people again need to be reminded. It is clear and evidence is coming out from outside the Federation of persons who care about us and are digging into this. Let's take the call.
Good afternoon, on target. Hello?
220 acres.
220 is correct. And you are... Hello?
Rachel Liburn.
Lisa?
Rachel Liburn.
Rachel Liburn.
How you spell that first one?
D-R-E-T-H-A.
D-R-E-T-H-A?
T-H-A.
I never heard.
T-H-A.
Okay, Dretha Liburn.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Dretha.
Unique name.
Yeah, never heard a name like that before.
Next question.
Next question, number 3. Very easy question to answer. Give me the date, meaning the month, the day, and the year when the SSC bill became an act. When did it pass Parliament? The date, meaning day, month, and year. When did the SSC bill pass in the Parliament?
Okay.
All right.
You want to give them a clue?
A clue?
Yeah, that's a clue. You might not give them the month and the year, but you might give them the day.
People are smarter than you think. People are smarter than you think. What was the date that the SSC Act was passed in Parliament?
And you want the date, the day, the month, and the year?
Yeah, it's simple.
Okay, all right. So people overseas are paying close attention to this matter of destiny. And they would have informed us that this legislation that we have in the Federation, that a lawyer for destiny declared that they played a great role in having this legislation put together, passed in our assembly, and they are waiting earnestly, urgently for an urgent response. Is that urgent response, right? So they're waiting for urgent. They want it to pass as quickly as possible. This was not put together by Mark. This was not put together by the Attorney General's office as much as Mark told us that. The Attorney General wanted to make us believe that he had nothing to do with it, that it is his drafting team that put it together. So he pulled himself out. Mark pulled himself out, straight down on him. He pulled himself out and straight on his drafters. But his drafters haven't said anything yet. He had promised that he's going to bring his drafters to a radio station to discuss it. Up to now, they haven't come to let us know. This thing is shaded in secrecy. It is bad news for us.
Good afternoon, on target. You lost that one. Let's go to the hard line. Good afternoon, on target.
11th of August.
It's very correct. 11th of August. Your name, please?
Could you give it to someone who needs it?
So give it to someone who needs it. All right, I will do that. Thank you. Good afternoon, you're on target. Excuse me?
August 15, 2025.
No, it's not 15th. Sorry.
And
You're close, but you're not the 15th.
That was answered
All
already.
right, and somebody answered it already. Thank you. All right. Somebody answered the question correctly, and the question now rolls back into the pot because it's being donated back. And so we got fourth question, which village on Nevis will be most impacted by the Destiny development? Which village on Nevis will be most impacted by Destiny? Very simple question. Let's go, folks. Which village will be mostly impacted by Destiny?
The Premier and the Prime Minister has been playing Bob Peep with us with this Destiny project on Nevis. The Premier makes it clear that when it comes to anything to do with SSC, ask him nothing about that. That is Sinkit's people business.
Let's take this one. Good afternoon, Target.
Good afternoon, it's Brown Hill Village.
Brown is absolutely correct. Your name, please?
Sandra Frederick.
Sandra Frederick. All right, Sandra. Thank you. All right. Brown Hill Village, mostly impacted. And the final question. Final question. Let me see. This young guy I've been calling in here. Good afternoon, you're on target. Good afternoon, you're on target. Hello? Oh, I lost that.
Maybe she got it that somebody else said it.
All right. Question number 5. And we all should know this because we were all insulted by it. How much money per month did Mr. Johnson says each household in Nevis will get? How much money per month did Mr. Johnson say each household will get?
He will give Nevis, the household, every household in Nevis an amount of money in support of Destiny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good afternoon, you're on target.
Hi, good afternoon. $30.
Excuse me?
$30.
$30 is correct. And your name?
Adorin Manners.
How you spell that?
ADOR''N.
Okay, Adora Manners.
Adorin.
Oh, Dorin.
Yes.
Okay, Dorin Manners. Thank you. Never heard a name like that. We got some unique names today. Good afternoon, you on target. Good afternoon, you on target. Hello? Excuse me?
Is somebody answer the last question?
Yes, somebody asked, but I got a question to you. Since you've been trying to call in all the time, you willing to play get an answer for me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that is for her only.
Very, very simple question. Which parish St. John's?
You still have to ask a question.
Okay, I got another question for you. 2 questions. Which 2 parishes will Destiny impact most? Which 2 parishes will Destiny impact most? You on the line?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. You can answer me.
St. John, St. George.
Oh, you're bright. And your name is?
Give my ticket to Tulu. I'm Rwanda. Give my ticket to Tulu.
Okay. Give my ticket to Tulu.
Is that Rwanda sound like a little girl?
I'm telling you.
I'm hearing this little child.
Oh, geez.
Thank you, Rwanda.
Okay. Since Tulu has the ticket, what do you want to do with the Tulu?
We can donate it to somebody.
We can donate it, or you want to play it out?
We can donate it.
So you don't want to play it out?
We can donate it.
Okay.
We can donate it.
Meaning that you could ask a question on it?
No, just leave it. We donate it. Don't ask a question.
Well, we got one more to go.
Okay.
Okay. We got, since Gigi, Gigi says she's holding her ticket. I think we have 1 ticket left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need one last ticket. Last ticket. For this giveaway. Last ticket. So if you want to win this ticket, you gotta listen very carefully to the question. All right. Where was Tulu mother's born? Where was Tulu mother's from? Where was Tulu mother born?
Wow.
Where was Tulu mother born? Let's take this call. Question. Where was Tulu mother born? Go ahead, please. Hello. Good afternoon. Hello. And we lost that. Let's go to this call here. Last call. Lost that one. Good afternoon. You have the answer to the question?
Monster.
Excuse me?
Montserrat.
Montserrat is correct. And your name, please?
Kenrick Byron.
Kenrick Byron. All right. All right.
She was.
All right. I think persons are calling in, but we have no more tickets unless somebody want to sponsor something. We are out of tickets, unfortunately. But let me see who is calling here. Good afternoon. You on target? Okay, we go on. All right. So that is the end of that show, part of the show. And so we do thank you, each and every one of you. Please come out on the 7th. They're at Papa's Grill to collect your breakfast. Those who are winners, of course, there'll be a list with your name on it, and you don't have to walk in ID. We trust. Who's gonna steal a breakfast? So you don't have to walk in ID. Just say your name or who sent you for it, and we of course accommodate.
You could have voted without an ID, so you could show up the breakfast with ID.
Let's see who is calling here. Good afternoon. You're on target. Hello. Oh, we lost that. Anyway,
somebody's having fun.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that you end with Mommy, because you were her favorite when it comes to her shows, and even when she was on her last moments of life, you would have said, turn on the radio if you want to hear me, boyfriend. And when we say we're not going to turn on the radio, he said, bring me radio and put it next to me.
Uh-huh.
And so, because she wanted to hear you for all the time, and you were the favorite. You know, people talk about you being passionate. She said, no, me love him like that.
Okay.
You know, Nevis people are too easy and too docile. And so she was really, really in love with you. And so, thanks for ending today's show.
With that. Folks, we had today was a extraordinary show. Let me see who's trying. This number has been calling for a while. Let me see what they want. Good afternoon, you're on target.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir. How are thou?
I'm excellent. Can I go back to a previous caller who asked a question about the bill? Couldn't the bill have said that the Premier was in charge of any developments on the island of Nevis?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would like to point out to that caller that in our system, you have an opposition, and further, you have a leader of the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
And the leader of the opposition has the right, and one could say the moral responsibility, to put forward amendments to any act brought to Parliament in the best interest of the people.
That's right.
Well, if the act passed through and the opposition, especially the leader of the opposition, proposed no amendment to that clause,
there you go.
It obviously means that the leader of the opposition felt that the bill as is was in the best interest of all of the people in the Federation. That's the only logical conclusion.
True.
Very much
There you
so.
go.
Thank you very much for that.
That is so true.
Yep. All right. Got good people listening.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, today was a good show, I believe.
As usual. Our shows are good shows.
Do not get me. I don't take things personally, but I will defend my position the best I can. And so if you felt somehow aggrieved or bruised by the exchanges, don't take it personal. All right? We are family, and sometimes family do get into arguments and disagreements, but it is not personal. So don't walk away from this thinking that, oh, I can't listen to Daly again because he
disagreed with me.
He disagreed with me. All right? So let us understand. when you have issues such as this import, each of us will look at it a little differently.
Including me and you.
Including us, of course. And so we just have to make sure that we get the best out of any situation possible. And I think we got the best out of this situation today by fully understanding all the topics that were presented and all the issues that were put forward. And, you know, like I said, we like a good fight. I like a good fight. But it's not, don't take it personal. All right? Good afternoon, and we'll see you next week, Saturday, same time, same station, God willing. And be good. If you can't be good, be careful. All right.
Be good.